Sometimes, and this is what I usually tell everyone that I have a chance to encounter, or rather have a chance to give them some sort of advice, some sort of knowledge that will help them to recognize themselves and to help them mitigate and attenuate the life predicaments. That it is okay that not to put a lot of pressure, though you're required and you're supposed to. And the best way I can say it is that all these things. Now, Frank Kafka, he was one of the greatest poets. He wrote one very interesting poet that was actually depicting the message that I was ashamed of myself when I attended the parties with my real face, not realizing it was a costume party. You see, we live in the world that everyone, some sort, is playing some mannerism of a certain form of character, a certain form of trait that denote that current status they are actually representing at that specific time. Now, when you go to a hospital premises and you meet a doctor, and the reason why I'm using a doctor, these are some of the key iconic career that will forever be identified as of value to us as human beings. And why not? Because these are people that will help us when we're in our most vulnerable state. And if you show actually even a small child a picture of a doctor and a picture of another career, they always give the presupposition of someone who's a white lab coat. They're the best. They know what they're doing. They are supposed to know what they're doing. They are supposed to show the highest level of professionalism. And most cases, do they? You see, if you meet someone, a doctor practicing medicine in the actually at the actual premises of the hospital, the way they will be representing themselves, the way they will be exhibiting their traits, that is a completely, totally different person of what exactly that person is. If you meet that's the exact person somewhere, if you had met that person somewhere else, maybe at their comfort of their status, maybe at the hotel, at the supermarket, at home with their family members, where he's completely himself or herself, that will be two totally different human beings. Utterly. And these are some of the things that really surprised me, because we forget, as we continue in our line of duties, as we continue giving ourselves false pseudo representation of what we are, we end up forgetting ourselves. We end up forgetting who exactly we are. You end up perpetually you end up turning down that inner voice of you that wants to be nurtured and nurtured, so that it can give its true purpose on why it actually came to exist into this reality. And that's where it is not a rare thing. It isn't a rare thing currently people die, people being diagnosed, or other people suffering from mental disorder. Back in the days, back in the 80s and 60s and the 17th centuries, something like depression, something like affective mood disorders, something like personality disorders, those even were not even considered even terms to be mentioned. Those they didn't even exist even in people's thought. And these days those are common. Even their drugs are actually, they're big pharmaceutical companies that are making billions of money to treat such disorders. Orthe, Oathe. It's crazy if you start to deconstruct things and start to understand things at different, from a different perspective, from a point of inquisitive, operating the status of simplicity, intelligent vulnerability. You allow yourself, you give yourself the benefit of doubt that you don't know, and you don't know. A wise man is a person that knows he knows nothing. The moment you start giving yourself identity that I'm the guy who knows everything about everything, that is where you start to, that is like the inaugural of your degeneration, of your triumphness. But if you give yourself a chance to know, a chance to be inquisitive, that you always question everything, even the things that sound stupid, and they may be stupid, but here's the thing, something will be a stupid question if you actually listen to the answer. Because that question that you're asking, somebody else had that thought, and it ain't as to, and even no question is stupid, because you're trying to understand something from the most basic and simple way. And if you want to know someone as an explain a concept, he can explain it to you in a way that you totally understand it. That is the way you know that person understands something. If you don't understand something, then you can't explain the same phenomena to someone else. It starts by you realizing that and constrain. So as I was saying, life, you have to I love this is why I love this philosopher. He's called Alan Watts. Now Watts talks about letting go and trusting the universe. It may seem simple, it may seem like an obvious thing just to let go and trust the universe, but that's another philosophy, that's another you by yourself. It is simple to mitigate it, or rather to execute, but it can only be executed if you allow yourself to live in the present moment, to live in the now, to live right now, observing things as the way they are, without creating some sort of expectation and outcomes You see, that's where I think so. Happiness can only be defined in reality with this absence of expectations. Like, and it's the same as living the present. Those are just one the same thing. But we tend to always want to have agency to everything, always to want to be in charge and being controlled. There's a certain psychedelic drug mostly used in the rainforest region, back interior of those tribes. The drug is called ayahuasca. It's a very powerful drug because the biggest psychoactive effect of it gives you it shows you that you aren't in charge of anything, because it completely lets go of everything. Now, guys who live in the realm of control, dominance, illusion, the reality of craving and searching and fighting and dedicating and committing and worshipping power, you'll be fucked if you try to use this drug, because you'll panic. You'll go into a panic attack. You'll develop something we call acute panic syndrome. And you may fuck yourself real good, because at a high dose you wouldn't be able to control yourself, and you will be able to control your thoughts as the way you used to think that you have control over everything. Now the world will come crumbling all the way down, and there's nothing you can do about it. There's this great philosopher, the Socrates. The guy was called Seneca. Seneca was there was a time he was a slave in a prison. But he's actually remembered because he left out with a very important and a very indispensable message, that for you to get happiness in this world, for you to live in a state of contentment, you have to operate in the realm of just focusing on the things that you only have control of. But the things that you don't have control of, don't focus on them, regardless of your in vain dispositions. Things will still go as the way it was meant to happen. So just, why waste your energy? Why waste worry about the future? Why waste time being sad about something that has happened, something dismal, something despair that has happened to you? Why waste your time to that? It won't change. Just focus on the things that you have control. And in such situation, in such a circumstance, what are some of the things that you are in control of? One, you're in control of yourself. You're in control of how you're going to feel. You're in control on how you're going to react to a certain type of action that has been predicated to you. You're in control of that. Focus on that. Focus on controlling yourself. Forget about the external pressure and forces that are acting towards you. What about the inward purpose? What about the effect? What about the results? What about the attitude? Your response, your feedback, your critique. Your motive, your attention. Those are some of the things that you'll be focusing on, regardless of any situation that is acted upon you. And this is what I tell people. If something, regardless of its traits, regardless of its negated dispositions, if it was completely not under your control, you should be thankful. Why should you? One, the most important thing, it was meant to happen. So, under that, it gives rise to creation. Second, easiness and calmness. You operate in a form of tranquility, in a state of tranquility, and your acceptance. You have to accept, because if it was meant to happen to me, then who am I to deny? Its outcomes upon my existence. Third, it's a way of communication. I always tell people that something that creates a form of pulsation, something that gives you, that makes you operate within the outside the threshold of normality, outside the comfort barrier, something that pushes you to the unknown. And here's the thing, and here's the philosophical epiphany. You discover something if you give yourself a chance to face the unknown, because it is in the unknown that you get to discover the known. It is not in the known that you get the unknown. We start from the unknown that gives rise to the known. In anything, even if you start to read on something, it doesn't mean that you'll have an easy time. It's a matter of not focusing on how you feel, but a matter of focusing on the rudimentary incentive of that specific action. That is what that ultimately matters. That is what that really is of concern. Not well, technically, if everything was easy, then I don't see any. You lack the word of actually of achieving something if it was achieved at the mere comfort of yourself. Like, you have to undergo some certain form of pressure. You have to face the predicament so that can be a source of reward when you get that specific something that you are after or you're aspiring to get. It acts as a way of a reward. Because psychologically you have created. See, it's your thought, and you yourself have created value in that. That you're aiming at, and it can be a very personalized value identification, but again also it can be a communal icon representation. But it's not, it will be wrong for me to judge or try to indoctrinate on what is of consider of to be valuable, of what is on the antithesis of that. It is not as per my concern, but as much as it is in my creation. Well, it is not even it was there even before my creation. Everything is there. The reason why I'm saying this is because I'm reflecting this thought on string theory, well, physics concept, because we all operate under frequencies and energy, and you can easily testify with me this. There's high probability if you are thinking about someone, you'll end up having to dream with that person, or alternatively you'll end up meeting up with that person abruptly, maybe along the street, or not even meeting, maybe something that has a direct correlation or has a causality to that someone will appear in your existence. Most of us, we don't question those trivial things, but in those trivial is what gives you the sentimental explanation of everything. This is a very esoteric concept. A normal individual, someone who has never been have never had any acquaintances with philosophy, someone who's deeply concocted with their culture will have a very hard time to deconstruct some of these concepts, because this is a concept from a free thinker ethos, deity, persona, not even persona, Oltieki. And there's a reason why I'm called Oltieki. All hail Oltieki. It's just time. Just a matter of time. So, as I conclude this discourse, this discussion that we have had this afternoon, and the reason actually where I even I had this thought clicked on me to share with you, or share my thought, is that I was putting a lot of pressure as the way it's expected on me, but sometimes I let it go. It is not that it is not serious, but I do enjoy the pressure. I do enjoy it. I do enjoy the capriciosity that comes with everything, the unpredictability, the world, the dubiousness of reality. Well, it is a mystery, and that's like the most exciting part. Why is it exciting? It is exciting because you can't predict the outcome. It is more like an adventure, more so like a definition of the word truth. You see, most of us, we are very fearful of the truth. We really incline to fall under the domain of truthness, being a truthful person, because we always wanted to subjugate the outcomes that will, so that the outcomes will be serving our most immature thought of short-term selfish personalized gratifications. It's quite a sad thing, but I can't say it's a sad thing. Where if you start to understand these things, you'll know that even the mind itself plays tricks on us, so that at the very end of it all, it doesn't have to have a chance to think. It doesn't have to, because thinking requires a lot of energy. That's why for you to operate well, you have to have fed well. You have to be in good condition, because the moment you involve mental cognitive abilities, there's a lot of energy that you're burning, and the mind doesn't always want to be thinking. That's why it creates shortcuts, it creates structures on easy way to maneuver some of the daily circumstances, or some of the daily activities that it has to partook in. And that's also that you'll see that everything that you do, you try to create some sort of shortcut. Especially the autonomic activities, the things that you've been doing perpetually. And it becomes, you see, when you start to read, there are certain neurotransmitters, certain chemicals that are actually released from your body, the catecholamines, that will make you very uncomfortable. Now, if you don't find ways to attenuate that feeling, it will overwhelm you. And in that, it becomes a problem, because eventually you won't be able to do what you are required of, or rather what you, the best self of yourself, wanted of yourself. And that will make you feel depressed, and that will lower your confidence with yourself, and that will not make you not love yourself, and that will come with a lot of, can even lead to a lot of neuroses, the mental disorders. So everything starts by you. It starts by having first to understand exactly who are you. That's like, it is the portal to everything. The moment you realize yourself, and realizing yourself is not stating your name, where you live, your parents, and this is where you go to, this is the type of work that's bullshit. That's absurdity. That is not even the least explanation of what exactly you are. You're even not close to what you are. You're just showing me some of the things that have been concocted and engraved in your system, so that you follow to fit in the society. That is what you're trying to tell me. If you tell me your name, you weren't born. Did you name yourself? You did not name yourself. You tell me you live with these people. Did you not choose to live with those people? You tell me that you work at this place. There's so many reasons why you're doing that specific job that you're doing. Regardless, even if you tell me this is just a matter of passion, this is where I've always wanted to be since I was a child. That is a very linear explanation, the multidimensional explanation. There's something in philosophy we call mimetic theory. Mimesis, everything that you're doing, it is a way of showing something that you strongly desire of unconsciously, that you want to have it exactly. You're not doing something that you have never seen it been done, or aren't you? You see, that's like the biggest, that's where the boundary lies. And this is where that's where like the threshold of awakening. And NPCs, non-play characters, just living your life, following the routine, living your life like every other one else, and then eventually you die, living the same absurd pathway to be followed over and again, continuing to exist in this vicious, preposterous, cyclical existing of reality. Now the threshold, what determines the threshold is the epistemology, the knowledge. the nature, the nurture, the concoction, what you feed your mind is what will determine if you'll forever stay operate into the normality or you'll move in a state where if you start to do things that have never been done before, if you start to live different from how different people are living, if you start to move outside of the indifferency of everyone, you achieve the most powerful and the most respectable status in this world, in the reality, in your existence. It is at the top of the chain of the hierarchical representation of humanology existing, and that is authenticity, the state of being novel, a novelty. You become the main character, and you'll see it. You will see it even if you decide to walk. If you decide to experiment this empirically, just decide to walk to town and observe people as they're walking. By chance, if you encounter some that actually has an awareness of being awakened, you will notice them from the crowd. It's funny enough, regardless of how they appear. Most of they may not even having a fancy appearance. Actually, most of people are the one will be with glamorous appearance, makeup, and over exaggerated what they are supposed to be. You won't notice that, but you'll notice that person. In their simplicity, you will notice their uniqueness. If you decide to have a connecting plutonic relationship or even a conversation with such individuals, the energy, the frequency, you'll feel it. You'll know, like, damn, this is different, more like a movie or something. And that's why you can call them the main character. So the ultimate question lies that are you the main character of your own story, or are you an actor in your own story, playing someone else's narrative on how you're supposed to live your own story? How absurd it is, but that's how you live, and that's the existence we live in. So join me as I'll be helping you as a philosopher to extinguish the novelty as you transverse and as you exist and thrive in your own simplicity, surrounded by the multiplicity, so that you can give the uniqueness, so that you can propagate the most fundamental, the most pivotal, the most prominent purpose for you existence.